Tomorrow at 3 p.m., millions of liberals across the country will be storming into their congressional offices. Oh my God.
I'm as mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore!
I bet you are.
On January 20th, we are walking out to free America.
And walking in to remove the regime.
We're walking out of work.
I mean, like, guys, this is the way, like, as I said, this is the way I think racists feel, right? Where, like, it's another example of a girl with tarot cards who's talking about, like, fucking fighting at walking out of school. She's wearing a nose ring. I mean, it's just, it's so stereotypical. It's crazy.
Walking out of school.
We're walking out of anywhere and everywhere.
Because it's past time that we stop cooperating.
Holy fuck. Remember what I talked to you guys about? The Karen evolution chart? This is a fully evolved swamp hag. This is it. You're seeing it right here.
With fascism.
Starting at 2 p.m. local time, we'll start a wave of walkouts across the nation.
Send a clear message that we demand freedom from this hostile and lawless takeover of our country.
Then we'll
so do I. So you get
start
rid of these people.
walking in.
Congress has the power to remove a tyrant from office. It's not an option. It's their sworn duty.
So at 3 p.m., we'll start walking in to local congressional offices to demand impeachment and removal.
We are peacefully demanding
the Karen Inquisition. Oh my God.
That our representatives filed their own articles of impeachment
against Trump and senior Trump officials.
And we are demanding that they force a vote.
Donald Trump has committed tyranny and obstruction of justice.
And turning ICE into a paramilitary force is an act of treason.
Wow. On January 20th, we are...
No, it's not. That's like, okay.
Telling our congressional officials that it is their duty right now to impeach, convict, and remove.
Impeach, convict, and remove.
Impeach, convict, and remove.
Jesus Christ.
Post your plans to join the
I cannot wait to watch this tomorrow. Oh my God. Tomorrow is going to be amazing. This is insane. It's going to be a good day.
Using the hashtags Free America and Remove the Regime.
And document your visits on the 20th with those hashtags so that we can multiply the movement.
Find your local congressional office, sign up and receive articles of impeachment, and find all the information you need at removetheregime.com.
We'll see you on January 20th.
We'll see you on...
And she's picking tarot cards. Oh my God. Man. These people are actually scary. They're the ones that say get in the train before you're ever seen again. Oh no, they'd kill you if they could. They would. They'd kill you if you could. And that's why it's important to make sure they don't get power. It is. It's very important to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if they do, then they'll do whatever they can. Like whatever the extent is that they can operate at, they will do that.
We'll see you on January 20th.
We'll see you on January 20th.
All right.
Thank you for standing up for our democracy.
We can all do this. It's time.
It's time. Oh, God. So this is how they get gassed up on TikTok, and then they cause a bunch of problems. And I think that if things continue getting worse, where they are kind of getting worse, you are probably going to see the military be brought in. Especially with them, like, running around trying to, like, identify and attack random people. Like, it's really, really bad.
The Pentagon is reportedly preparing to deploy 1,500 soldiers to Minnesota as protesters continue to cause chaos for immigration agents in the state.
Our own Matt Finn joins us live from Minneapolis with all those details. Matt, good morning.
Yeah, finally.
Good morning to you, Rachel. Well, we're entering week 3 of the unrest here in Minnesota, and the clashes between protesters and law enforcement are showing no signs of slowing down.
Look at them all.
Do it!
Another tense scene Saturday outside the federal ICE facility. Law enforcement holding the line against angry protesters who can be heard screaming, "Kill yourself," and "Un-American" to officers. The Washington Post reporting about 1,500 active duty soldiers preparing to possibly make their way here if more violence escalates. And Governor Tim Walz also mobilized the Minnesota National Guard yesterday. The Guard staged to support local law enforcement if needed, and says it's ready to respond to locations across the metro area. Now, yesterday, protests continued outside the ICE detention center, and there was also a violent clash between counter-protesters at City Hall. President Trump has warned that he may use the Insurrection Act here in Minnesota, which would allow the
That's
federal...
what they have to do. Like, I don't know why it's taken so long. I think every day that it doesn't happen, it just makes him look worse. And I'm shocked that it hasn't happened by now. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Government to use military troops to bring calm. Meanwhile, a statewide day of action is scheduled for this Friday. Activists are asking people not to attend work, school, or make purchases. And the St. Paul Federation of Educators is also asking people to participate in that day of action Friday. Back to you guys in New York.
All right, Matt Finn, live force in Minneapolis.
Jesus.
Matt, thank you. It's just continuing to ramp up and up and up. And it's important as we continue to cover this story to remember how we got here. The reckless open border policies of Joe Biden led to...
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that none of this would have happened if they had just basically detained these guys whenever they got arrested. Like, it's this entire conflict and everything about this is, like, so unnecessary.
The criminals...
I don't even know
the
why.
Violent illegal alien criminals...
It's insane.
That ICE has gone into places like Minneapolis, a sanctuary city, to clean them up. And you had, yesterday, Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff, really railing on Minnesota's leaders, accusing them of aiding and abetting anti-ICE violence. Watch this.
Oh, here we go.
These are acts of insurrection against the laws of the United States and against the sovereignty of the United States. Foreign illegal aliens who broke into this country, who then raped children, who committed human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, protected, shielded, sheltered, coddled, defended at every level by the leadership in Minnesota. And then when ICE goes out to make these arrests, they unleash violent mobs to attack, assault, and impede ICE officers. And they refuse to allow the city police to protect those ICE officers in the context of their duties.
The police, some of the police have either, a lot of them, I think it was 23 of the police officers basically resigned from the Minnesota police force. And 18 of the 23 went to join ICE.
Willfully aiding and abetting this violence.
But the key word they're talking about insurrection there
they
from
switched
Stephen
sides.
I thought they were against that.
Well, and if he's
It's
talking
80
about
now?
insurrection, maybe we're going to get the Insurrection Act.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Who knows, from President Trump. But I couldn't help but think, we're a day before honoring and celebrating the life of Dr. Martin Luther King. What was his message? Nonviolence, peaceful protests. Doesn't appear like we're seeing any of that in Minnesota.
No, not at all. It's also, there's a long history, of course, on the left of having these kind of like shock troops from, you know, these like...
Well, this is what's happened is that the reason why these people do this is because they get away with it. They got away with it with the Tesla bombings. They got away with it with BLM. They got away with it with Trump. They get away with it every single time. That's the reason why they do this. It's because they can. And I think that's the problem. And like, you know, whenever you compare that to like after January 6th, you know, they went down and they tracked down every single fucking person in January 6th. They put a ton of those people in jail and they went completely scorched earth on them. But for some reason, the idea of doing it to these people is like, oh no, you can't do that. Why not? Who decided this?
Activists who will create violence, create chaos, trying to destabilize the things that the administration is trying to do, things that are wildly popular. The president has a mandate. He won. The border issue, as you brought up, was front and center.
Yeah, I know.
Democrats recognized they were on the wrong side of it. And so now what they're saying is we don't like the way you're doing it. And again, they find themselves on the side of just
this is that same retard that we saw earlier that was causing problems. Yeah, because they're louder. What they did to January 6ers was bad. That's why they can't go that hard. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that really, I mean, here's the truth. All of those like MAGA people will never even consider doing another January 6th. And the reason why is because the first time they did it, they ruined the lives of the people that were there and they killed one of them. So the ultimate result is that January 6th happened, but it came at such a huge cost that they'll never do it again.
kill Mara Abrego. They find themselves on the side of all the people that we put up on the wall last week, showing that there were murders, rapists, as Stephen Miller said, and people who've committed terrible crimes, people that every parent would want off the streets. I think the political question here is, this is not talking about affordability
No.
from the Democrat side. Is this really what their voters want?
This is the reason why the Democrats fixate on this and fixate around protecting criminals, is because those are the voting blocks that they need to activate in order to win elections. So what their mentality is that they want to bring in a bunch of random illegal aliens and low-income, low-skill immigrants so they can make these people dependent on social systems and then hold the social systems hostage for them to vote on them. That's the strategy, is that you basically create an entire community of people that are effectively dependent on the government, and so they have to continuously vote for you to continue that dependency. That's what's going on.
Maybe they're voters on the far left, but what
it's pretty
about
obvious.
The people in the middle? And again, another thing is Minneapolis is the home of Ilhan Omar, a deeply unpopular figure, and she's become front and center on this as well. So I think it all is not.
Throw in some fraud.
Yeah, exactly. She's suddenly like $30 million richer now.
Wow.
And we're uncovering all this daycare fraud. So I don't know if in the long run this is going to work. This might be their BLM.
Well, it's a great point, Rachel, because you mentioned Ilhan Omar, who is leaning hard into bringing back the abolish ICE. That has not been a winning message. And, you know, you can dislike Stephen Miller, and you can think that his rhetoric is too harsh, but factually, he's correct. The Minneapolis is protecting these illegal criminal aliens. Now, the Mayor Jacob Frey argues that they're not a sanctuary city. They have a separation ordinance. But at the end of the day, they do the same thing.
If you're not cooperating, it doesn't matter what you call it. Are you letting illegal aliens out into the community? If the answer to that is yes, then it's a problem. You can redefine it however you want. It's not the name, it's the problem.
They refused to cooperate with ICE. The White House called them out yesterday, saying Minnesota sanctuary politicians have released nearly 470 criminal illegal aliens back into American communities since President Trump took office. ICE working every single day to remove the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens from terrorizing their state. I would just add to that, Rachel, there's also 1,360 violent illegal criminal aliens currently in custody in Minnesota jails held by authorities, and yet all ICE is saying is just hand them peacefully to us.
And the other reason why I think a lot of this happens with these politicians is because the politicians never get held accountable for it, right? Like, why can't you just, for example, charge the people that are in the government that are like making the decisions on this? Why can't you just charge them with public endangerment 470 times? Why can't you do that? I mean, I don't see the reason why you can't. Or you can just make up a new charge. I mean, it's very obvious that, like, I mean, and here's really what matters. Is it a good thing that a person is allowing 470 criminals out into the public? Obviously, the answer to that is no, right? It's clearly not. So if there isn't a rule against it, then there should be. And if you can use something that, like, is this something that somebody should be held accountable for and should face punishment for? I think the answer to that is yes. So whatever the law is doesn't really matter to me. What matters is like what the value is behind that law. And if you're doing that, fundamentally, you need to have some level of accountability, one way or another.
We'll release them to the streets. It keeps the community safer, and we don't have ICE having to make arrests at large.
We know a lot of these protesters are paid, but among these protesters,
I hate this argument that they have about the protesters being paid. I think that's so stupid. It's so pointless. It doesn't add anything. I mean, what if they're all just unemployed losers? I feel like there's a much higher probability that they're just a bunch of unemployed losers. So we know they're getting paid. I don't think they're getting paid, if you want me to be honest. I don't think that's true. I think maybe a handful of agitators might be getting paid that are inside the protests. But to say they're being paid in mass, I don't believe that. I don't think anybody has evidence for it. They're just making this up. And the problem is that you already have the winning opinion. You already have the winning side. Why are you introducing fan fiction that muddies the waters? That's the reason why I think that it's wrong.
A lot of rich Edina moms pining for their 1960s protests and their their university days. Those ladies are protected from a lot of this. Their kids are not getting crowded out in schools by illegal.
Well, they're not getting arrested either.
Aliens because they're in private schools.
Yep.
And they're living in neighborhoods that are, protected or gated.
Well, they're living in gated communities full of white people while they want to have other people live in some multicultural area whenever they don't do that themselves. What I've noticed is that a lot of the people that are the biggest advocates of multiculturalism do not live in multicultural areas. I've noticed that a lot.
They are among the paid protesters, but I do not think that they represent the common sense people. The problem in Minnesota is common sense people are cowed into silence. They're so afraid. I mean, you saw that with the crime being committed in the daycares. Lots of good people saw the corruption, but were so afraid in that political environment in Minneapolis of being called racist for calling out the corruption.
Yeah, and we'll see as we continue to cover this whether or not the really frigid temperatures will dial things down. There's calls for more protests today and coming this week.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian. No, I think they're right. I mean, again, they have to send in the military to stop this, I think. And if you don't stop it with the military, they're just going to get more and more extreme until basically it just boils over and people end up getting killed.